Hi everyone, it's Chantel from the Mommy Bookworm, and I am here to talk to you guys about my April wrap-up. So if you've been keeping up with my videos, you know that my March wrap-up was a very disappointing video for me personally, and I had vowed to do better in April with my reading, and I would say I did pretty decently, definitely better than March, I will say that. I do want to keep increasing what I read every month, so although I did read quite a few books this month, I want to do even more in May. So I was able to complete 5 books this month, and they were all pretty good. There was only one that I was not exactly satisfied with. If you've been watching my videos, you know which one I'm talking about. So let's just get into this and start talking about them. The first book I completed in April was Brainwalker by Robin Mundell. It was a really good read. I actually received a copy in return for a review from Book Tasters on Twitter, and I was fairly impressed. This was about a young boy, Bernard, who found his way into his father's brain through a wormhole, and he got to experience the life that was inside of his father's brain. It was basically a whole new universe. In fact, it was the Brainiverse. So after stepping into the wormhole at his father's job, he was catapulted into his father's brain, and there he met several wild characters, including Basilides, Adista, Philemon, and many others. These creatures were called Hollins, and they were on the hunt for inertia. Well, there were 2 sides of the brain. The side that he landed on was called Intuit, and the other side was Reason. The 2 sides of the brain got into a battle over inertia, and Bernard found himself right in the middle of it. What does inertia do? It keeps the powerful neurons in the brain active. So without it, they die. These neurons are where all of the people that were in this society lived and breathed and did everything in their daily lives. So without them, they had no place to live. There was so much action, so much scientific research in this book. It's a middle grade book, and it is perfect for a read aloud for your children. It's perfect for the science lover, or maybe even the reluctant reader who loves science. This is the perfect place to start them off. Everything was told in line with the story, but it also had character names. Just like the Intuit and Reason sides of the brain, everything is labeled as what it would really be in the brain. Obviously, we have the creative side of our brain and the realistic side of our brain. Everything was very scientific, but in a way that somebody that isn't really into learning the scientific terms of things can really understand. Overall, the writing style was great. I enjoyed every minute of reading it. The voice of the story was captivating and kept me hooked from the beginning, and I would recommend this for any sci-fi lover, and as I said before, any reluctant reader who enjoys science or likes stories. I rated it with 4 stars. So the next one I read was American River Tributaries by Mallory M. O'Connor. I have actually put up a review for this book, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with this. I will link the video to my review in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. It was a book that I received through Online Book Club, and I was very impressed by this. I actually rated it with 4 stars. The writing was very, very detailed. It was a well-paced storyline. It was just a really good book. There was so much going on. It all just mixed together so perfectly. It was really good. The next book I read was Shadow Weaver by Marcy Kate Connolly. This was actually the book I chose for the Bin Book in Book Club, and I had a live discussion about this one as well, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. If you want to check that one out, then you can check out that link below, but that was kind of a lame live video, I'm just going to be honest. So this is about Emmeline, who has the ability to control her shadows. Her shadow, Dar, is her best friend. Well, one day, people come into Emmeline's home and say that they can get rid of her disease, and Dar decides that she can get rid of those people if Emmeline promises to make her human again. The next morning, they find out that the man that was going to cure Emmeline of her disease has died, so they go on the run to escape the wrath of Emmeline's parents and the other people that traveled to her home with this man. This is a middle grade book, so it is written as a middle grade book, and to be honest, I felt like it was a little slow and a little too simple for my taste. Now, if a middle grade reader read this story, would they think that? Probably not. It might be perfect for them, but I wasn't impressed. I don't know whether I will continue this series because it is a series. We'll see what happens. I did rate it with a 3 star, so I didn't rate it terribly because the storyline did have some interesting points. I was just not overly and completely impressed by this book. It actually took me a little while to get into. It was a quick read in the fact that it was so simple, but I couldn't get into it. The next book I read was The Snow Child by Eowyn Ivey. It is a national bestseller. I can totally see why. So it is about a couple who moved to the Alaskan wilderness to escape their previous life, where they had had a child who was stillborn and they could no longer have children at this point. They were close to their 50s, so they decided to go to Alaska and start a homestead there where they could get away from everything that they had before. Well, on the first snowfall, they decided to build a little snowman, and the next morning come to find out that snowman was destroyed, but there was a little girl left in the forest. So they are left confused as to where this little girl came from, why she's in the wilderness by herself, especially the Alaskan wilderness where it's harsh and so difficult anyway, even for a grown man, let alone a little girl. So they finally convince the little girl to come in, and they find out that her name is Fane. She takes both of them on many different adventures and cures the void of that child that they didn't have. But then spring comes and she disappears. So it goes through that whole story of them and how they interact with this little girl, where she's coming from, why she's coming to them. There are moments where you're wondering what she is exactly. It's just a really, really good read. I recommend this to anyone that loves a mystery, anyone that loves fantasy. It is so good. I can't even explain to you how good it really was. I gave this 5 stars. I was completely enthralled by it. I could not put it down. I would definitely reread this. I do believe that it is a retelling as well as an adult general fiction novel. That gives you a little bit of information on the book itself. Again, I recommend this to anyone. The next book I read was I Have Lost My Way by Gail Forman. I have been talking about this forever and I finally finished it. I got the sneak peek through NetGalley and then I ordered this as soon as I was done with that. It is about 3 people who meet each other by chance and they all have one thing in common: loss. There's Freya, Nathaniel, and Haroon. Freya has lost her voice and she is a professional singer working on her first album, so that is a very big problem. Nathaniel is in New York with nothing but a backpack and a little bit of money, trying to figure out what he is doing in his life. And Haroon is from a Pakistani family who immigrated to the United States, and he is trying to figure out how to confront his family about the fact that he is gay and is in love with a man. We get to hear the stories of each one of these and go into detail with each character as to why they are the way that they are, what specifically they have lost, and what has brought them to this point in their life. The whole book takes place in one day, so we get to see them meet and then go through the day together and see the betrayals that come about. It is an adventure, let me tell you. This book was one of those books that I read in basically one day. If I were to put it all together, since I got the sneak peek before I got the book, I would say it would have been a one-day read for me. It was so good. I couldn't put it down. I love Gail Forman's writing anyway, but this was just amazing, and I'm really hoping there's something else to the story because I just want to know how everybody ends up. Like, I know we kind of found out at the end how everybody ends up, but at the same time, I still feel like I could know more. I rated this obviously with 5 stars because how can you not when you love a book this much? I can't get over it. I still haven't got over it. I think on my Goodreads, I put that a review was coming soon. I need time to get over this book, and I just still not posted my review. So this is about as good as it's been so far as reviewing anything about this book. So good. So obviously there's some LGBTQ stuff in here. There is some romance and heartache and everything in between. It's just so powerful. I think that pretty much anyone can relate to something in this book. So I definitely recommend reading this to anyone who enjoys a good story with a lot of background and some depth to it. This is the one you need to read. So that's it. That's all I read this month. I'm really hoping to get some more in my May TBR, so be sure to check that video out as well. I'll be posting that pretty close to the same time I'm posting this one. I apologize for all of the lack of videos lately. I have just been super busy with end of the year activities for the kids, and I just let the YouTube go to the back burner. So I apologize for that, but but I'm hoping to get some more videos out as soon as possible, get back into the vlogs, get back into everything. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon in order to be updated every time I post a new video. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye!